No, I really wasn't, me personally. And I like Jamal Murray. I like to watch him play. But I think they should have suspended him. You know, I do. I honestly do. And the reason that is not because I want Denver to lose a series or nothing like that. I'm looking at the safety of the players, the safety of the referee.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you look at the video on the towel, if the referee all of a sudden decides to retreat down the court and takes a step back to take off, and he slips on the towel, he's probably going to bust his face wide open. So let's start there.
All right.
Now when you look at the heating pack, everybody's focused in on Cat, if he gets hurt. But your own star MVP player is right there. Reggie Jackson kicks the pad slightly under Cat's foot. But Reggie Jackson could have fell on that as well. He could have kicked it under your star player, Joker. Joker could have came down on it, slipped, and fell. I understand. It would have been more severe if somebody gotten hurt. But you know me, Skip. I am a what-if guy. What if that had happened? What if? And I know the league says, well, nothing happened, and seriously, we just go $100,000. I don't care about the money aspect of it. What hurts the most is if you take his ass off the field of the court, then he hurts his team. And now you sit there and you got to be reminded of this all the time. When you down 3-0, when you down 4-0 and you at home, you got to be reminded of this because they're going to keep saying the reason you're not playing. You not playing is because of what happened. And the what-if factor is huge, man. Them dudes, that dude could have slipped and fell, ripped his knee open. Your own guy, the MVP, could have slipped and fell. Your role player, Reggie Jackson, could have slipped and fell and hurt him. Like, you got to think of it out. Everybody's thinking about Cat. Or they thinking about he's just getting back to the referee. Plus, not only that, he also gave the referee the money sign, something that I guess you're not supposed to do.
It's supposed to be an automatic.
Yeah. So he did that real slick and quick. If you didn't see it, he did it real fast.
Did Gobert do it?
Yes.
Gobert did it and got hit. Gobert did it, they caught him, but they didn't catch him do it because he did it fast and quick. But just all of those things, and yes, maybe the things that he did in the game was frustration because he was being locked down. He's in witness protection over the last 2 games. So he's kind of like, his mind is somewhere else.
It is.
And he's frustrated. But he should have been suspended, Skip and Rick. That's just my opinion.
I agree. Steph Curry has, and as we showed the video, he's chucked his mouthpiece 3 times. He was in the game and chucked his mouthpiece 3 times.
At the scores table?
Scores table once, in the direction of the referee once. Jordan Poole got him upset, and he whipped it again. I think he nearly hit one of the, in this case, or one of these cases was near a fan. But he was ejected from the game in every single one of these instances. And what I don't really understand is that the Minnesota Timberwolves made Mark Davis and the referees aware of what Jamal Murray had done in the course of the game. And they did not go back to look at video to see what happened because
they can go back?
They do for everything else. So if they considered it a unsportsmanlike act, they go back and look at video. If somebody gets hit in the face, they'll go back and say, okay, wait, what exactly happened there? Let's figure it out. They didn't go back because if they had addressed this in this game, we wouldn't be facing this situation. The penalty, based on previous instances of guys throwing things, Steph Curry being Exhibit A, is you get tossed out of the game. So if you don't get tossed out of the game for this game, then shouldn't you be missing the next game? That's where it takes you. Now, I can't help but feel that, the league likes to look at this and say justice is blind and we're not taking into consideration where we are in the series and the competitive effect that this would have. But Reggie Jackson rolled his ankle in the last game. I will be surprised if he plays in Game 3. You take Reggie Jackson out and you suspend Jamal Murray,
Yeah.
Game 3 is a wrap.
Okay, so let me ask you this question.
And you can't tell me that that's not influencing. Let's just hit him with a big fine.
Could be right.
Rather than suspending him for Game 3.
But what if one of those 3 guys that was round the heating pad slip and fall and tear the ACL?
I'm not disputing the danger of it.
I'm just saying, so the league, if I was making the fines or whatever, the policing the situation, I'm looking at all that. On top of that, what if, and it's a big what if, what would happen to a fan if a fan throws an object out on the court?
Oh, they're out.
For life, probably from the arena. Probably from the arena.
Potentially.
Okay, so let's
but
assume.
certainly ejected from that game.
So why is it okay for a player to throw an object out on the court?
I'm with you.
And run the risk of hurting somebody, the same thing as a fan.
Right.
You don't have to, even though we say the fans shouldn't touch anybody, shouldn't do any of those sort of things, just because I'm on the court and I'm being paid by the NBA and television and ratings and all that, I don't buy that. I don't succumb to that.
And I don't know if it was Mark Davis, but Mark Davis told a pool reporter after the game.
He did.
That the reason they didn't go to the next level is because it wasn't thrown at anybody in particular. And I'm thinking, that's a huge alibi, because you know what, Mark? That was thrown at you, buddy. Like, the towel, there's no question that that's who Jamal Murray had the issue with. Mike Malone, the head coach, had an issue with. And so I'm not buying it. It just feels like they are papering over what actually happened and what measure they should have taken, because I can say for no other reason than it would end this series if they took the right action.
So, you know what? For once, you guys have made such strong cases that you are starting to change my mind, even though I am philosophically opposed to suspending any player during any playoff run at any cost. I didn't want Draymond gone in, 2016, 16?
Yep.
Right? Yeah, 2016 for Game 5. Yep. After he kicked LeBron below the belt and screamed B-word at him, but he had a building track record. He had kicked Steven Adams. Okay, it was a little bit, but the one on Steven Adams in the previous round was a real kick.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, and he was starting to have a resume of kicks below the belt. And
reputation being built.
Okay, so here we come to Jamal, and I'm with you on Jamal. He's the best closer in the game, so I'm sort of philosophically opposed to coming down on him so quickly and so harshly and so hard, because he doesn't, to my knowledge, have any track record of this. Sure, he gets emotional and he can get angry, but he channels it into making last-second shots. And because there is no body of evidence and body of work here against him, it's hard for me to say, yeah, kick him out for the next game, even though every point you made and every point you made is spot on, dead on, scary on, because just if I take it in a vacuum, you should suspend him for a game, because it was an incredibly dangerous act. It was a careless, irresponsible act by a player who knows way better than that. And yet he was in the throes of shooting 3 for 18. They were about to be down 61-35, their worst home playoff deficit in their playoff history for the Denver Nuggets. And he was clear down at the very end of the bench. You can barely see him down there, and he lost it. And he's kind of doing it in the shadows, thinking, well, maybe they won't see me. But clearly, the only reason to throw these objects onto the floor, not that a towel's an object, but it is. He threw 2 things onto the floor. He's throwing them at the referees. I don't know if it's at Mark Davis, but it's at somebody.
I
One
wonder
of the
if he
refs.
thought that the towel was going to land on his head, cover his face or something. I wonder what he thought. Because, that to me, it's different. Okay, if he had thrown the towel a la Robert Horry and Danny Ainge's face, the Phoenix Suns, because that's his coaching on if he had done that to Mike Malone, and you'd be like, oh, my God, they got some internal issues.
Yeah.
But the fact that you threw it on the floor and it slid out underneath, you have to understand what I'm saying about sliding under your own teammate. Damn cat.
Yeah.
Joker was within a foot of, if he goes back for the rebound the other way or something and he falls, now what's the conversation we having now?
Well, here's the other part. Imagine if that was Draymond Green or DeMarcus
Well, if that was
Cousins,
Draymond
or
Green,
DeMarcus Cousins when they were. Like, are we adjudicating because Jamal Murray has no previous cases?
Yep.
And when I consider, again, it's one thing if you throw something. Like, I could make a case that the Steph Curry things was a little extreme, kicking him out of the game. He's upset. He whips his mouthpiece. But if you're, as a league, going to look at player reactions that way and say, hey, we don't want any of that. I mean, we're getting guys teed up because they give you a primal scream after a dunk. They're clearly trying to control the emotional reaction of players. You're going to do that, and a guy gets so upset that he's throwing things on the floor, and you go, that's a fine. After the fact. We're not even going to deal with it in the course of the game. It just feels like such a... I'm with you, Skip. I don't want to see anybody... I don't want to see the competitive advantage taken away or changed or influenced by the league or officiating. But if you're going to operate a certain way, be consistent.
Yeah.
And this is not consistent with the way the league has adjudicated these things in the past.
Okay.
That's my only issue, or my biggest issue.
In the fact that it's in the field of play is even more egregious to me. Now, if there was a timeout and the referee was standing there and Dennis Rodman, like, just decided to just throw something out on the court because I'm pissed and they're going to eject me anyway, I'm fine. I'm like, okay, whatever, give me his fine. But players are running up and down the court. That's the only, like, where's your mind to at that moment in time to not realize they're running up and down the court?
If it were a dead ball throw.
Dead ball, yeah. If it was timeout, nothing, you know.
And Steph's was.
It was.
Like, the whistle's blown, he's upset with the call. He's whipping something, like, play has stopped. This is in live action. It just feels as if they're not ruling on this in the way that they had. They're not being consistent.
Yeah.
And that's what you want more than anything else.
So Jamal got one huge break here, starting with nobody slipped. But the biggest break he got was that television didn't make a big deal of it because it happened so fast that it was under radar for the TV people, right?
What do I always tell you?
Television.
The television people who call in the game can set the narrative on what happens.
They do.
I watched Joe Buck do it to Randy Moss. I watched other people, and it just lives and it goes. You're right, Skip.
Okay, and nothing was made of it because it happened off radar. It happened off camera. It took me a whole 24 hours to figure out where did it come from and how did he... Then I started to see some new video emerge where, oh, there's Jamal. He's clear over at the very end of the bench in the corner, and I can barely see his face. And it was a second-day story that was bigger than an immediate story, right? So the league got a break on this because it didn't catch fire until really after the fine had been levied, right? The punishment had been meted out, okay? So...
So now you really fired up the Minnesota crowd, too, now. This is going to... it's getting ready to carry into... Game 3. It's just going to carry, you know, they're going to go nuts now even more.
As if they needed.
Yeah, I mean, they're up 2-0, but you're going home, and you got a chance to bring them down to 3-0. You know, those people going to be, whatever, drinking, hanging out, partying beforehand, and they're going to get in there and get riled up in the situation. I can almost guarantee every time he touches the ball, they're going to boo. Every time he touches the ball, they're going to boo. As if they wasn't going to boo before, but it's just going to get louder.
I'm wondering where they're going to be throwing things.
Whether they would be, you saying? Yeah, probably not. Probably at him, or on the court.
No, at him, or at least, at least reminding him.
Probably not.
Some people might be bringing some hot water pads along.
Maybe, but the more I think about Jamal Murray, the more out of character this is. Like, this is psycho stuff. This is where he just lost it for the first time in his NBA career. He lost it. When you have
played the way he's played. For the most part, in the playoffs.
Except for two
shots,
two strokes
and
of
a couple
wrist, right?
late, late shots that he's made. He hasn't played all that great, in the first years against the Lakers, and
he's
especially
had some
now.
calf, and I don't know how bad it is, but they keep.
Everybody got something, Skip.
I know they do, and that is true. Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.